It's Wednesday. You know what that means? Time for the Southern California Writers Association Hump Day Book Tour. Your host, Manny Margarita, here with Diana Pardee on tech. Every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., the Southern California Writers Association turns our Facebook page over to a new writer to talk about their books and their work. This morning, I'm pleased to have with us HANNAH SWARD. HANNAH is the critically acclaimed author of the underground memoir Strip, a memoir, which has received rave reviews from authors such as Nobel Prize winner J.M. Coetzee. Did I get that? Did I pronounce that right? Melissa Broder and New York Times bestselling author Caroline Leavitt. Most recently, Sward was awarded a full scholarship for the 2023 We Tell Stories writing program. She has also been chosen as the 2023 guest author of We Tell Stories, the worldwide literary conversation series in dialogue with Voices and Faces Project founder Anne K. Ream and World Without Exploitation. You're a busy person, HANNAH. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you so much.
Do you have a copy of the book with you?
I do. I
Can you
do.
hold that up and...
That's the, yeah.
That's okay. So let's start and talk a little bit about the title.
Yeah.
Where, for people who aren't familiar with the book or your story, talk a little bit about it.
Strip, in a way, it's somewhat deceiving. People often think of it as stripping, which it is, and there is a couple chapters about stripping, certainly a part of the book. But I also, with that title, really it's a stripping away of everything what I think of as down to my core, stripping it all away. And that happens throughout the book. I mean, it's like I'm building up and then I'm stripping away. And someone reminded me yesterday, I mean, which I know, but it's also the writing style. They said it's very stripped down. The sentences clip along, and it's also stripped down in the way it's written. There's probably about 75 chapters, and let's see, one chapter could be this short. So,
well, that's fine. The funny that you bring that up. There were a lot of in the reviews, that word comes up, or the feeling comes up regularly. I heard raw, intense, very readable, that your writing style was efficient, but full. So, you talked a little bit about the writing style and the title, but tell us a little bit about the book for people who aren't.
All right. So like as Maddie introduced, it's Strip, a memoir, and it came out last year. And on the cover, Melissa Broder, who I don't need to give probably any introduction to, she has a book coming out this week, says, arresting, weighty, and visceral as hell, a crushing tale of physical, emotional, and spiritual survival. And I'll read the back. It's a very short synopsis to give an overview. Born in the Bohemian 70s, HANNAH SWARD was abandoned by her mother and lived with her poet father on an island with no cars or stores. Kidnapped and molested by a stranger at age 6, she grew up to be a stripper and a prostitute with a taste for crystal meth, which seemed to be a surefire way to lose weight, with stops along the way for silent gurus, sugar daddies, and drinking in the CVS bathroom before therapy sessions. Painstakingly honest, often humorous, Strip is a heartfelt memoir revealing a woman's journey from innocence to a dark existence and beyond it to a world of empowerment. Gives a little overview.
That seems like a whole lot to get into one book. That seems like a challenge.
Yeah, it was the whole process. I probably took about 5 years to write, and then another 4 years for it to find a good fit with a publisher and agent and all of that.
So obviously, the person that they're talking about is not a character. This is a memoir. This is your life. I have two questions. One is what drove you to write the story and look at it in such a unvarnished way? Mm-hmm. And the other, what was the hardest part about trying to pare down all those experiences into something into a narrative story. So I guess why and how did you do that?
Yeah, thank you so much, Maddie. That's a great question. The why came about very organically. I had been writing for a couple years, and my desire when I initially got sober was to write again. I had been publishing and writing in my 20s, and then I took a detour into my addiction, which I was still writing in that time, but it wasn't. It was a different, something else. And so my desire was to simply get pen to paper. I'm a very big fan on pen to paper, and I didn't care what it was I was writing, as long as I was writing every day. And that was 2 pages a day, handwritten. I still write my drafts pen to paper. And after 2 years, I kind of took stock of, I did take stock of what I had. And in that, I started to see my story. And within that time too, I was publishing essays, and it felt very natural to submit these essays and to have people respond to them, and also share my story publicly on panels. So it was like I was finding myself without really knowing it. I had a mentor, Jill Sherry Robinson, and she was really the catalyst to it, sharing the full story. And in terms of, yes, a lot is packed in 250 pages. That was incredibly challenging. I didn't think and didn't know I could do that. It took a very long time. I always saw it as clips because, especially in this day and age, a lot of people I know who aren't necessarily writers and big readers, I want it to be accessible to them. So someone could just pick it up and if I can be, this is the book. I pick it up, you pick it up to one chapter. It says, let me see your, and you can just read that short chapter. It's 1 page and already be in the book. So each chapter is contained. Was very, that was the hardest part, was weaving it all together, especially because I didn't know what, even though it's like, read it now and it's like I can see the story, I didn't know what the story was, even though it was my story when I was in it. Right.
People wrestle with fiction where they can go any direction they want.
Yeah.
When you run into a problem or an issue story-wise, but when you're writing something that's true, just trying to find out what is true is
Yes.
the journey, right?
And what to leave in, what to leave out, what doesn't serve the story. This is just one little part of my life, really, even though it's all there. It's picking apart, like, well, what does link it together? What can the reader retain, right? Especially because my father was a very full life, very varied life, as it says, sugar daddies and gurus and living on islands with no cars and stores. And, how do you kind of piece that together without overwhelming the reader? And I have other brothers and sisters that are not in the book, as an example. There's one, I talk about 2 different ones, but had I included all 7 of us, it would have just been chaos.
Unbelievable. So one of the other notes that I think came through was that, from your point of view, was not that of a victim, and that I think that trying to get that distance so that you craft a story that other people can relate to, and do it in such a way, like you said, that doesn't overwhelm them. Just in your synopsis, the errors that you talk about in that synopsis, but the one line that sticks with me was that meth was a great way to lose weight. It's just that little bit of humor was enough to make it so that I could get through the rest of your summary and feel it, and not just put up a wall to protect myself from that. So talk about writing that and how you got the perspective to be able to do it with a little humor, with a little distance. And what was the most surprising thing that, or memory that came out of this when you?
The most surprising memory. I'm not sure about the most surprising memory. I definitely know what parts of it were the most difficult to go into and remember and write. Well, with also holding on to myself and not, disassociating, and not, over, like you said, overwhelming the reader. The humor, I didn't know there was humor in it until I would read it out loud in my writing group. And there was a lot of laughter. I think sharing it as it was, that in itself apparently brought the response of humor. For example, there's my relationship with my sister is a through line in the book. And there's one part where we try different diets. And we're at the strip club, we want to lose weight, and we're a little curvier than the other girls. So we decide, okay, we'll go to Weight Watchers. And this is just like, I just wrote it as it was, right? We went to Weight Watchers and they said, you're too thin, you can't join us. And we're like, well, we just want to get good eating habits. And, we didn't want to tell them for strippers, we're maybe a little too curvy, but anyway, so I said, well, let's put on some ankle weights and strap on some weights into our waist and go with baggy shirts, go back to a different Weight Watchers. And yes, we qualified. And then we went back and the next week or a couple weeks later, and they said, this is astonishing. You both lost 15 pounds, but we were in. So, it's what the story was. I didn't try to be funny in that. It's just what we did. And there was lots of adventures, and also I look at my life that way. Even in all of those years that were difficult, there was a lot of beauty. There was art. There was the poetry, and there was this like wonder of life, right? And even at a young age, I knew that. Even when I was deep in my addiction and doing things that fed the shame and the self-hatred, there was a part of me that was standing outside of it, and maybe that's just being a writer, that knew. Well, I'm kind of digressing right now, so that I'll wrap that up.
No, that's an interesting thread. So, you were talking a little bit about some of the hard parts, and I know we only have a short time, but what was one of then I want everybody to read the book.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to give away anything that's substantial here, too substantial. So maybe we could talk a little bit about what you want people to take away from the book when they read it.
Mhm.
And if you had that in mind when you were writing the book, or was it, okay, I have to get it out and whatever happens, happens? Or
Yeah. I've had a lot of people reach out. I had actually a mother reach out yesterday about her young daughter, 19-year-old daughter. That was the age I was when I first became a call girl in Chicago. And so in some sense, like, let me just cut to what I really wanted people, and for myself, what I wanted from writing this. I dedicate the book to learning to sit in the hours. So it's a call to coming back to center. It's a call, an urgency. For me, that was my greatest dream. I wanted to be a woman that could sit on the couch, that could sit wherever I am and be self-contained. I lived a life and within myself that was full of terror, anxiety, self-hatred. And I never thought it was possible to feel otherwise. Within, yes, the moments of joy and the humor with my sister and the love and the wonder, coming back home, right? As great poets say, that was it. So if anything with the reader, I'm not big on like what I want readers to get from it, but that was the most important thing to me, right? And I really enjoy and value being around people who exude that, who attract that, right? Whether they're an author or whatever, if they can sit with themselves, they can be really present. And I think like to be present for another person, to be present for myself, to be present talking with you, it may be a little surprising to come from this book and go, read that back about prostitution and crystal meth and sugar daddies. Ultimately, that is, it's what I dedicate the book to. Again, learning to sit in the hours.
I had goosebumps when you were just talking. And I think, knowing that regardless of what happens, your essence is still your essence. And it's a question of finding it. Sometimes it's a little more difficult and, life throws all kinds of obstacles in our way and whatever. But I think that's a wonderful story of redemption, and you look so happy and healthy. So I'm so happy for you. And I thought about it and I didn't do it before we were on, but I'm ordering it. As soon as we get off the air, I'm ordering a copy of your book. And I hope other people will too. Where can they find it?
Like in LA, I know it's at Book Soup and Chevalier's, but if you're not in Los Angeles, I think the best place is bookshop.org. Or not a big fan of Amazon, but it's also it's through Amazon, Strip, HANNAH SWARD, Memoir, and so I do believe in supporting independent bookstores, but it's not always possible.
Not always possible. So, and where can people who are interested in following you and following your story and your journey, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram as of last year.
And right before the book came out, I got on Instagram, right?
Yeah, not advised, but I finally succumbed and I thought, okay, let's do it. Stumbling my way through. I'm like, what's the story?
You are not alone in that.
But HANNAHSWARD.com, HANNAH SWARD author is my Instagram, and then also at Facebook. So.
And then what are you working on now?
Are you working on something? I am. I'm working on a collection of short stories about love, jealousy, and affairs. And so it's a detour from this. My sister, who's an avid reader, she's really excited about coming out. She's like, if people like this, they'll like that. They'll like that even more. And I'm like, anyway, that's what I'm working on.
Well, we look forward to reading that as well. Please let us know when that comes out. I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me and for introducing all the emerging and established authors in Southern California. It's a real gift.
Well, it's exciting and it's inspiring to be around people like you. So again, thank you for being here. Everybody, thank you for being here with Hannah and I. We are here every Wednesday morning. I am here every Wednesday. So we hope that we'll see you next week on the Southern California Writers Association Hump Day Book Tour. Bye, everyone.